What is the most terrifying thing you've ever experienced while home alone? One day while I was working afternoons a couple years back, I woke up at around 10 AM and started to watch American Dad before getting up. Next thing you know, I hear my back door open. A normal thing in our home, since we only use the back door. But no one was supposed to be home yet. I assumed it was my mom and didn't think anything of it. Then I heard footsteps coming up the stairs as my bedroom was on the second floor. I call out to my mom and get no response. Then my door cracks open and a head pops in. It's a 30-ish-year-old man with a blonde beard and a big mane of greasy hair who looks shocked to see me. At the time I was about 260 pounds, 6 feet 3 and 20 years old. I was also sitting in only my boxers. Before I was able to realize what was happening, he asked, "Is this the residence?" To which I reply, "No." He makes a swift exit, and before I can recollect my thoughts, he's not even in my driveway. Talk to a family friend who is a veteran police officer. Turns out a man has been pulling this kind of stunt to rob people in nearby towns. I was about 21 or 22 and living by myself at the time, and I left my window open on a pleasant night. It was low enough to the ground that you could get in if you really tried, but the screen wasn't easy to take off, and I lived in a fairly safe neighborhood, so I didn't even think twice about it. Woke up in the middle of the night because I smelled smoke, and I reached out to turn on my lamp and my hand hid what was very obviously a person. My brain fully woke up at that point, and I realized there was a shirtless man in my bedroom, smoking a cigarette and staring at me. I remember yelling for him to get out, and I must have spooked him just as badly as he spooked me, because he leapt out my window and took off. I slammed it shut and moved a bookcase in front of it, and when I went out the next morning in the daylight, found the screen sitting against the house. Didn't sleep the rest of the night, and I haven't slept with a window more than cracked ever since. I also absolutely refuse to live on the ground floor of a building. I don't know if he was planning to rob me or ate me or both, but it was absolutely terrifying and makes me wonder how many times it happened and I didn't wake up. When I was 19 in my first apartment, I had someone knock at the door. I looked through the peephole and saw this burly, heavy-set man who abruptly started screaming to let him in. He was screaming things like he was going to beat my ass and kick the door down if I didn't open. I called the cops, and as soon as someone got on the phone, he started body slamming my door to break in. I was freaking out and crying as they quickly had 5 cops show up within 5+ minutes. As soon as he heard the sirens, he quickly walked away, and they met him at the bottom of the stairs. Apparently he was after the previous renter, but was extremely intoxicated. They arrested him, and thankfully he never came back. I ended up breaking my lease and moving out 3 months later. It was in a very nice neighborhood, but it quickly made me wish I was back home with family instead of being on the other side of the United States. My BF worked away from home a lot, and I always struggled to sleep on the first night he was away. On this occasion I was woken by the sound of a man shouting, and then someone banging on wood or a front door. I jumped up and looked out my bedroom window, just in time to see a man dressed all in black walking through our garden towards the house. I ran to the front of the house to look out of the front window and make sure he kept going. He did, but he met up with another man dressed in black walking towards my house. I was terrified and called the police. They arrived in a matter of minutes and checked out the back garden, but they were gone. Turned out a neighbor had caught them both trying to steal his car, and one had escaped through the gardens while the other had run through the roads, and they had met up outside my house. I didn't sleep at all that night, and my brother came to stay the next night. I'm so glad I live in an apartment now. Much more security. When I was like 14, I was home alone one night around 10 PM, stood in my kitchen making some cereal. It's dark outside, and then all of a sudden the loudest sound. Some drunk woman literally launched a hammer through my kitchen window. Was so loud and glass was everywhere. I followed her down the street whilst calling the police. Pretty strange. Edit for everyone asking why I followed. So the reason I actually followed her was because you could see really clearly through the smashed window as it was now wide open. She looked like a very fragile little old crackhead lady that could barely walk or see straight, and she started stumbling away mumbling some shit once she had done it. Plus I didn't really know how the fuck I was gonna explain this shit to my parents if I didn't have a solid answer, haha. But yes, it was a very distressed walk whilst following her. Definitely an action caused by adrenaline too. This happened to me a couple of years ago. I have also lived on my own a long time, so do not get sacred easily. I had just finished reading in bed and I turned my lamp off and settled down to go to sleep and hugged my cat up close to me. This would be about 1:30 in the morning. I closed my eyes and I heard a voice say meow like imitating a cat. My window was open, so either it was just someone being weird outside. I opened my eyes and in the middle of my bedroom was a small boy wearing a red jumper waving his arm above his head. I leapt up like a goddamn ninja and put the light on and my heart was going mad. Now, nothing paranormal has happened in this house ever in the entire time I have lived here. I spent the whole night totally freaked out, only getting a bit of sleep when it started to get light outside. My friends thought this was hilarious when I told them. I was saying there is no way I'm living in a haunted house and started googling cleansing, exorcists and whatnot. The next few nights other weird stuff started happening. I started sleeping with a T.V on, and as soon as I tried to get any sleep, I would hear freaky voices coming from it, or I would notice shadows dip by the side of my bed. It was dreadful. I actually resorted to saying out loud, "I'm really tired, so if you could not haunt me for one night I would be really grateful." I had never really believed in any of this sort of stuff before, so it was like an entire paradigm shift for me. Anyway, I was going on about this to my friends at work, and one of them asked if I was on drugs. Well, funnily enough I had just started taking this new tablet Montelukast for my asthma. When I got home, read the side effects, a rare one being hallucinations. Stop taking them, no more hauntings. TL, Dr. Drugs made me see ghosts. Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will be in your bed tonight.